Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Let's Play Planet Coaster here on the Theme Park Worldwide YouTube channel. It is great to see that you're all enjoying this series. I've loved every single minute of this so far. The park started back in November. It was such a small area. We started with the RMC coaster, and now finally, a few months on, we are starting the work on the main entrance to this park. I can't believe we're finally at this stage. I mean, I know a lot of people have commented and said, when are you going to open the park? When are you going to build the entrance? All that kind of stuff. Now is the time. So for anybody that sort of joined the series a little bit late and didn't watch right from the start, I did say way back at the start of the series that I wanted to get some rides in first. I wanted to build some coasters before doing my entrance. The main reason of this is because I was that excited to get the game for the first time. Bear in mind, when I started this series back in November, the game had only been out like a week and a half. I wanted to experiment, build some coasters and flat rides, do some really detailed theming on the rides, and I didn't want to spend time building an entrance. I thought I'll have a lot better entrance if I build it quite a few episodes in, just before I want to open the park. It means I can put everything into it and really concentrate on it, and that is what this episode is all about. You can see by the title, it is building the entrance to this park. The whole episode is dedicated, you're not going to see a ride built in this episode, the whole thing is dedicated to building this massive entrance that I'm putting in. So I'll start off by explaining a little bit about what I'm going to do throughout the episode. So the first sort of half of it is going to be me building the main entrance building itself. It's going to be home to the turnstiles, and it's also going to be home to a hotel which is going to be built above the entrance to the park. Now, the style I wanted to go for was a bit like the Grand Floridian over at Walt Disney World in Florida, a bit of a magical touch to it, and also wanted to be inspired a little bit by Disneyland Paris. The park entrance there is gorgeous. How it passes underneath the hotel to get into the entrance, I absolutely love it. So it's going to resemble Disneyland Paris sort of hotel quite a bit. I was going to say castle then. It'll resemble the hotel quite a bit, Disneyland Hotel. I love that. I mean, I love the Disney parks, how you've got the train station as the main entrance. Of course, at the original at Disneyland in Anaheim, it sort of stemmed from there with it being put at the other parks, and Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World, that's got the train. But yeah, it's good to see that sort of they changed it and spruced it up for Disneyland Paris, really. And I love that entrance. I think it works so well. So that is exactly what I'm doing here. Second half of the episode, you're going to see me have a little bit of a break. I do the main hotel building itself, and before building the two wings on either side, I then go to start building the actual main street area itself. Now, this street isn't going to be like Main Street USA. It's going to be split off. There's going to be a couple of rides on there. There's going to be a massive lake at the bottom, and I'm still saving what I'm going to put in the middle. Am I going to build some sort of volcano, some sort of hill, maybe like a Victorian inspired castle, something like that? Who knows what's going to be built in the middle? I'm still deciding at the moment, so comment below. I'm open to suggestions on that one as well. So yeah, it's going to be good. We'll end the episode with having a few sort of nice shots around the finished entrance and how it looks. In terms of a time scale, of course, this episode's about 50 minutes long, just over. So with this, you're going to see real time. This took me about 7-8 hours to do what you're going to see built in this episode. So that gives you an idea of how long things take in Planet Coaster. But I hope you enjoy it, and let's start by talking a little bit about what you can see me doing just here. So as I mentioned the hotel is going to have a very Victorian fairy tale style feel to it, and what I decided to do was focus that on 4 main turrets, and that is what I'm starting to do here. So I'm actually building it a bit further back than where it's actually going to go, and by using the blueprints that I've used numerous times now in the past few episodes, I actually saved that blueprint, and then I can copy it a few different times, well, as many different times as I want to. In this case, I want to use that 4 times. So you can see me here really trying to perfect that. And like I say, there's no rides or anything being built in this episode. It is going to be me focusing on this building. Now, I did want to show you pretty much the whole thing going up. So that is why I've left all the footage in of every little detail going up in this hotel. I mean, I don't show you me putting hundreds of windows on. I do sort of cut that out and things. But in general, you really start to see this hotel going up. Across the next sort of 10 minutes, you get the idea of how the main shape of this hotel building is going to be. Well, the main sort of building itself anyway. There's going to be 2 wings that are going to come off either side. So what I decided to do here was mess about with the walls. I got the sort of hexagon shape that I wanted, and then I put some nice roof on, added a little turret on top there with some windows in. Then I was thinking, right, I want balconies on this hotel. So then I thought, right, let's put the balconies on. Let's put some windows and doors in there. Instead of having just windows themselves, I thought, you know what, let's have some massive double doors that open. You can see me just saving them as a blueprint there, so it means that now I can open them up and just like so, I can turn that round and actually add them onto the side. So instead of me having to use each and every window and balcony and add them on, I can just use the blueprints like so and just add them on the side. But yeah, so you can see that sort of happening over the next few minutes, and you'll see in a second I actually duplicate that, add it to blueprints and move it onto the site itself. In terms of this hotel then, when it's finished, of course it is going to be part of that main entrance feature. You're going to walk out the guest generator and then you're going to see this massive hotel in front of you. We're going to have a fountain out the front, a couple of lakes maybe at either side, and yeah, it's just going to look really nice and really impressive. In terms of it being lit up at night, it's going to be lit up beautifully as well, with some pink lighting, maybe some purples around there as well, but we don't want it to be too sort of kiddified. I just want it to be more magical. It doesn't have to be a bit like how, you know, Disney's sort of entrances are and stuff like that. Yes, it is sort of aimed at kids, but adults can enjoy it too, and they'll find it just as magical. I find Disney parks magical, and I'm sure a lot of you do. I'd be very interested to know actually in the comments down below, what is your favourite Disney park if you've ever visited them? So of course it doesn't just have to be a Magic Kingdom style park. It could be something like Epcot, Animal Kingdom. Maybe you've been over to California and done California Adventure. Comment below your favourite Disney park. I'd be very interested to see, and I'll read out a few of them in the next episode, what your favourite Disney parks are, and we'll have a bit of a discussion over that. In terms of little details going on, you can see me here adding in the white sort of poles down the side. It's all about adding those layers. I spoke about layers a lot, and you can see me here in a second. I start to add another layer on top, and that is some lights just on top of the walls there as well. The whole idea of the lights was to keep them streamlined and make sure that once they're on there, the rest of the building's all lit up beautifully at night. So I'm searching for little things we can add here. I thought, you know what, the roof looks good, but let's add a couple of extra sort of bedrooms in there if you like. In terms of this being an actual functional hotel, it isn't going to function at all. Unfortunately, Planet Coaster doesn't allow that at the moment. I mean, you could put a ride inside, or you could put food outlets inside, but I'm not going to do that. It is just going to act as my entrance. Of course, people are going to pass through it, and it's going to be nice as they walk through into the entrance of the park. They'll pass underneath it onto the sort of Main Street style area, and you'll see that in this episode as well. In the second half, really start to come together. I start to sort of expand the railway line out, and of course we're going to have a station here as well. Not like Disney where it's got a station quite close to the entrance. This one's going to be a bit further back towards the lake that you see me build. But yeah, it's really starting to come on. I'll let you enjoy a little bit of theme park music, and then I'll come back to you when I start moving things into place in just a couple of moments' time. So as you can see then, I finished off the main turret itself, and I've moved them over to the place where they're actually going to be on the entrance itself. So you can see there the main footpath. That does change slightly throughout this episode as I do change the colour scheme and things of the path. I mean, when I did that back in November, it was more an idea of just to show myself that is where the entrance is going to be. But you can see here, I've put them two in. So like I say, you don't actually need to build them two separate ones. You can literally build one and then copy and paste it if you like by using my blueprints, which is really clever. I don't actually do that here as well. It's going to be a very symmetrical hotel. So you can see here I'm building another side to it if you like. This is going to have more bedrooms in. It's going to have a nice roof, lots of fairy tale roof pieces on there as well, chimneys, all that kind of stuff to make it look nice, balconies. You can see me experimenting there with what sort of roofs I wanted to use. I thought, oh, do I want the tall ones, do I want the low ones? With something like this, a lot of people comment and say, how do you do it? And a lot of people love my theming, and it's great that you do. Yeah, literally, you don't really have a plan. Just go with the flow. Like, you'll find yourself deleting bits and adding bits in and thinking, oh, that doesn't look right. You'll even save the game and think, yeah, that looked good. And the next time you open the park, you'll look at it and think, oh, actually, I want to change that. So yeah, it's all about experimenting, really. And of course, with the best thing about Planet Coaster is you can just attach anything, pretty much to anything. You can line it to surface. You know, you can do so much with it, which is fantastic. Again, here, now I built them sort of windows. I don't need to actually bring them in and build them separately. I can just literally go on my blueprints and just copy and paste them on, which is good. And I can take that to another level if I wanted to here. I mean, you see me individually placing them in a second again, but I could, if I wanted to, have put a stack of 6 together and started putting them on the wall if I had wanted to save time. But I just wanted to make sure that each one was precise and in the right place. Once I've done this bit, you actually see me copy this and move it onto the other side as well. So you can save quite a bit of time. In terms of a time scale here, you're looking at already about an hour and a half's work. So like I say, you know, it's a very, very time consuming process. The actual turnstiles themselves have been put in now as well. You can see right in the middle of there, the 2 turrets. You got the grey roof just to the right of the screen at the moment. That's where the turnstiles are, and that'll have direct access into the theme park. Again, I'll leave you for a moment as I start to put a lot more sort of theming in. The rest of this episode is completely sped up, by the way, so just to make you aware of that. It is sped up. Just if I showed you in real time, it would have took episodes and episodes, and like we did back at the start of the series when I built my Wild West Saloon, the whole thing, yeah, it took about an episode, and it was a tiny building in comparison to this, so I didn't want to make it sort of span over a few different episodes. I know you guys want to see this park open as much as I do. I'm so excited, and literally we are, what, a couple of episodes away now from opening this park. I'd like to think that episode 15 or 16 we'll have guests in and we can have a little look round. Obviously this game does take up quite a lot of sort of memory and RAM and all that kind of stuff. You need a very good computer to be able to run it. A lot of people ask me what PC I have. It's actually a custom built PC that I've got at the moment, which I bought specially for this game to run Planet Coaster. I don't play much of the games apart from like the old theme park simulation games like Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and the original and stuff. Oh, look at that hotel. I'm still so happy with it, and wait to see the finished process. I think you'll think, you know what, that looks really good. And even so, at the end of this episode, it's not completely finished. There'll still be little touches that I want to add in between this episode and also the next episode as well. But yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? I'm really pleased with it so far. It looks awesome, so I'll leave you to it again. Enjoy the theme park music. I know you all enjoy that as I move that onto the other side and start to add in even more detail with my hotel. Just before I go, you can see just there moving the blueprint over, and because that wall was attached to the same building, it has moved that over with it, so you'll see me just delete that in a second. I could have separated that wall from the rest of the building, but I thought, you know what, it's easy just to copy it over and then just delete it separately. So the hotel has really started to come together over the past 5 or 6 minutes. It looks really good now. I'm sure you'll agree, it looks great. However, what I decided to do I put the clock in down on the wall and I thought, you know what, it doesn't look quite right there. So I thought I'm going to raise it up, have it as more of a focal point, and that's what you see me doing just here, is putting that clock in. And what I love about the clocks in this game is they actually work in real time. So down the bottom right of the screen, if you look where the date is, you can see just down there, and you've got some little buttons at the side as well to speed up time and slow it down if you want to, which is cool. The clock actually goes in sync with the real time, which I think is just a little thing what Frontier have really thought about, all them details. So there we go, that's the main clock tower. That does end up turning pink like the rest of the building. I say pink, it's more of a beigey pink, isn't it? It's not like deep pink. I didn't want it to be too sort of fairy tale. I still wanted to have a nice sort of adult feel to it as well. I didn't want it just to be based for kids. This will be one of many hotels, and I am planning on building a few hotels at the back of the park as well, behind the fancy area and the pirate area, and a potential sci-fi area. So yeah, we'll see what happens in terms of that. I'd like to put in car parks and monorails and have it as more of an actual resort instead of just a theme park in Planet Coaster. But yeah, this looks good. Again, just adding them touches in along the side, some wooden beams, just to give it that little bit of extra texture. You'll notice as well a few minutes ago I put in the archways at either side. That's going to be for the footpath. Of course, that's going to lead out to the different wings at the side. It isn't going to be guest accessible, so of course you have the main entrance path in the middle, which will be, but in terms of actually getting to the hotel wings, the guests in Planet Coaster won't walk over to them. I'm not going to include it as part of the park. I'm not going to put a ride or a food outlet in. They're just going to be there for show, just to make it look nice, really. So the hotel won't be usable for now, unless Planet Coaster changes something in one of the future updates. We'll have to see. Talking about Planet Coaster itself, they've announced actually they're putting a few new rides, of course, since the game originally launched in November. They added like Christmas theme in and the sleigh ride, all that kind of stuff, which is good. However, they have said that soon there's going to be a massive update to the game, the biggest one since it launched. What it's going to include, we don't really know at the moment, but from seeing some of the live videos that are on Facebook, it really does look exciting. I can't wait to see what the guys at Frontier come up with for Planet Coaster. Very, very exciting. So that's enough of doing windows on the hotel for now. I now start to build the wing, which is on the left-hand side of this hotel. As I mentioned right back at the start of the project, I do want this hotel to be very symmetrical. So you've got the bit here on the left-hand side. This wing will actually be the same as what's going on the other side. So which also means I can use the blueprints tool to completely copy and paste it and have it on the other side. You see me sort of deleting little bits and adding bits in. That's sometimes in my error where I've put walls in the wrong place and all that kind of stuff, and roof pieces. Again, it's all about experimenting. I don't ever draw something up first. I more have the vision sort of in my brain and then go from it from there. So very similar to Disneyland Hotel in Paris. It's actually going to have two walkways, which sort of raised walkways that lead over to each wing. The main reason for this is I didn't want it to be sort of quite as glamorous, if you like, on either side that it is in the middle. So to separate that up, I thought, you know what, I'll have some walkways going from either side, and that means it's still going to look beautiful, but I just don't want it to be too much. I didn't want to block it all in sort of courtyard style. At least having that means we can have a footpath going around the hotel, have some grounds, some nice planting, and of course some lakes and stuff as well. Of course, the beauty about having a hotel this close to the park entrance means that guests staying over get a lovely view of the RMC coaster on the left hand side, which is good. They get a nice view of Iron Stallion if they're staying on the rooftop, especially where they'll have the terrace looking over. You got to think of realism. I love operating these like the real parks, and I like thinking, oh, if he was in this hotel room, you'd have a great view looking over that area. So that's the footpaths going in. These do change again slightly, but I'll put one on each side, and I do actually add a lake towards the end of the episode when we start landscaping around here as well. With this being the base, I decided to put a sort of quite bland, boring bottom into it. It doesn't need to be anything too spectacular, so I add a white bottom in there. And again, that's going to have windows leading over, conservatory style really, over to the other wing. I do use this roof for now, but later on I actually changed the design of the roof on this conservatory part. Again, it's all part of experimenting and thinking, oh, you know, I put the wing in, I think, you know what, it doesn't look quite right, let me change the design of the roof and have it a little bit lower. You see here that I raised it up. I was thinking about having some rooms in the top of the windows, but then if you look at it like that now, it just doesn't look right. If you look at it at the end of the episode, it looks a lot better than it does now. Let's have a little talk then about the industry and what's happening over the past couple of weeks. So of course, Alton Towers has been open for a couple of buyout days over the past few days. They've been open for various different companies who actually hire out the park. So it means we've seen quite a few of the changes that have gone on already in the park, including this year's brand new map, where the interesting thing is Secret Weapon 8 has actually been listed as part of Gloomy Wood if you look on the map, so that's quite interesting. So is that confirmation? Well, I assume it is, that the brand new wooden roller coaster is going to be more of a darker theme, which is quite interesting to see. There's also been rumours about a potential name that have come out of the past week or so. Whether there's any truth to that or not, we don't know at the moment. But yeah, it's very exciting to see what's going on with SW8, and of course we're going to be closely following it here on Theme Park Worldwide. But yeah, Gloomy Wood, God, it'd be great to see more of a darker theme. What's also interesting to know from looking at the map, it looks like at some point this year there's going to be another footpath what's going to open next to Haunted Hollow to take guests up towards Gloomy Wood. So again, that's quite interesting. It looks like they're trying to make Gloomy Wood extend round into Mutiny Bay, or the back part of Mutiny Bay anyway. So it'll be very interesting to see how they sort of separate that off. Really looking forward to seeing how they do that one. I mean, Alton Towers in terms of new paths and stuff is something we've not seen for years really. When they put new rides in and stuff, yes, we've had new queue lines and exits and stuff, but when it comes to putting in brand new paths in areas, it's something that's pretty much non-existent over the past sort of, what, 10, 15 years when they've done new projects. So that's very exciting to see. I love infrastructure. I'm sure you can tell from how I build these parks in Planet Coaster. I love infrastructure. I find that really important at a park, and the layout to me is how a park, I can enjoy a park a lot more if it's got a great layout. Sometimes if I go to a park and don't enjoy the layout, I know it sounds quite bad, but it might put me off that park just because of the layout. So very interesting to see what they're doing with SW8, and comment below what are your thoughts. Do you think it's going to have more of a darker theme, or could we be seeing a potential retheme of Jewel and the rest of Gloomy Wood? Who knows what's going to happen next year? But the exciting thing is, we're about 12 months away now, just over 12 months away from riding a wooden roller coaster at Alton Towers. Something I've wanted for so many years, I really have. So I'm very excited to see that it's going to be happening, and of course we're going to be following it a lot here on the channel. So when you're building something like a massive hotel or a dark ride or something like that, it does you good to have a break. Bear in mind at this point I've been working on it for nearly 5 hours. I thought, right, I'm going to do some footpath and work on the main lagoon at the bottom of there as well. So you've got the main street sort of area there. It's going to connect off with 2 paths. So one into the Wild West area down the bottom on the left, and one just there on the left as well, which is going to be just next to this lagoon. So you can see here I'm putting in a massive lagoon right in the centre of the park. The eagle-eyed viewers will notice that throughout the past sort of 12 episodes I've had a centre point marked out in this park, and that has literally just been a piece of footpath right in the middle to mark where this lake or whatever I was going to have in the centre was going to go. I've decided it's going to be a lake now. I'm putting it in, and you'll see me in a moment fill that lake up. And it's quite an interesting thing you'll see actually when I fill that up and connect it to one of the other lakes. So what I decided I wanted to do here was make sure we've got a central hub area. In realistic part, this would be right in the centre of where you'd have all your different things like guest services, a main sort of transport hub, so you'd have your train station here, and that's what we're going to do. And of course you'd have a nighttime spectacular here as well. One of the interesting things you'll notice that I do now is I connect this lake up to the rivers that run all through my Wild West and Pirates themed area, and this is quite interesting what you see happen here. So if we go over to the top left, you can see that I now start to dig down the land and connect it up, and as soon as I connect it, bam, there we go, all the water disappears. The reason because is I connected it up and it actually requires all the water to be at the same level. So you can see me just going around here making sure that it's fine throughout both areas, which it was. If it wasn't fine, what I could have done is just simply made that a separate lake but still made it look like it was connected. So I could have maybe put a building going over the lake to sort of cover it up, or even simply just put a bridge going over and then just have it as 2 separate lakes. So you don't have to think that you have to build all water on one level, but you want it all to connect. Of course, it does have to all be on one level. That bridge will lead into my fantasy area. You can see where that's going to go. It's going to be at the back of the park. And you can see me just here connecting that up to the Pirates. Finally, after months and months, we've got these areas connected to a main footpath, so we can get this park open very shortly. I'm excited. I mean, this whole back area here is going to have lots of different buildings on. I'm thinking about having like a teacups and a carousel as part of this area as well. So not so much in the fantasy area, but maybe as part of this British style entrance that we're going to go for. This park is designed that it is a British theme park. Talking of British theme parks, what do you think to Paramount Park in Kent? I mean, it's come up in the news again the past couple of weeks. Is it going to happen? I really don't think that thing is going to get built. If it does, it'll be on a really small scale compared to what they're planning to do. But who knows? We'll see what happens. And I know you should be positive about projects like this, but I really just do not see that happening anytime soon. And I'd be interested to know. Comment below on this video. I'm asking you to comment loads, aren't we, different things? I promise that'll be all now. But yeah, comment below on the video. And I'd be really interested to sort of hear what your thoughts are on the Paramount Park, which is supposedly going to open in what, 2022 or something stupid now, down in London. So we'll see what happens. When this project was originally announced about 5 years ago, it was going to open originally in 2019, and what's that now, 2 years away. So yeah, I really don't think it's going to get built, but you never know, we'll find out. Who knows? So before I went back to carry on with my hotel building, I thought, you know what, let's go one step ahead and put the train going across the main entrance here. So you'll think, oh god, that looks a bit iffy, but of course you're not really going to see that because there's going to be buildings all the way around, and I want to have a really nice grand bridge crossing over the main footpath there as well. Like I said, the plans for this entrance are to have buildings in like an L shape on either side just at the back. So I thought, you know what, let's put the train in, get it testing. There it is, coming up, with all the steam coming out. Love it. And then we're going to have a station just on the other side. That'll be the main station. Of course, we've only got one station so far, and that is within our Wild West themed area. So there's probably going to be another couple of stations, one in the fantasy area at the back, and maybe one somewhere else. But I don't want this train to go around the whole park. It is going to go all around the left hand side of this park, and because I've said I'm going to do a sci-fi area, I'm going to have a monorail running around the right hand side of the park. So whatever two themed areas I build around there's going to be a monorail. So you can see me extending the footpath out just here yet again. I've got a nice design for the footpath now, like cream on the edge and sort of just tarmac in the middle, which is quite nice. Send the train into the station just to make sure it works fine, and then I start raising up the land underneath just to make it look a bit nicer, so it's sort of raised up on the ground. A little interesting fact for you: at Disneyland in California, of course the train is raised up similar to this, and all the carriages actually have seats facing inwards. That's because of its location. They wanted to make sure that you couldn't actually see outside the park whilst you're riding the train, and you're facing inwards at all times, because obviously if you're facing forwards you could look left and right, and therefore you'd be able to see outside of the park whilst you're escaping into Disneyland. So that's great, and it's something they did carry on at the other parks. I mean, you do at the other Disney parks, you do sit forwards because obviously there's a lot more space at the likes of Walt Disney World. You're not going to look out and see what McDonald's and Burger King and stuff like you can in California. But yeah, I just think that's a really nice little touch what they did. Putting the queue line in here again, this is subject to edit. I just wanted to put one in just to make sure that I didn't forget about it really, and god, imagine if I did that, open the park without putting a footpath in. Whether this train will open with the park itself, I'm not too sure, because obviously as I'm building the other areas, I might want to think about changing the layout of where the train goes around through them and that sort of thing. Back to the hotel then now. I had about an hour or so off and I thought, right, let's crack back on with it. So you can see me here putting more roof pieces in. I then go on to add in some balconies on top and even more detail onto this as well. It's got a similar sort of feel to the centre of the hotel, but just not quite as grand. So I'll leave you carry on with this. I mean, wow, this episode's gone really quick actually. I mean, so much has been done throughout this episode. Here, I did actually think about, can I get away with using that roof? Well, I thought, no, I'm going to build something custom and build something different in there. And I'm glad I did, to be honest. I just wanted to make sure that it looked great. I mean, you can sort of really sort of skimp out on these and think, oh, can I get away with doing this? But you've got to think, no, I'm going to do it properly. And that's what I decided to do. You might notice there's a bit of a glitch actually with the game if you place too many objects on top of each other. That's something that I do cover up as much as I can on the hotel, but there's some cases, there's some areas where I can't sort of fix that, which is a shame. It is a glitch in Planet Coaster. It is only if you place certain scenery items on top of each other, mainly roofs to be honest, and some walls if you add them both on the same sort of square, which is quite interesting, but it's not a major issue at all. Considering how amazing this game is, that's only a small little bug, what would be nice if they do fix in the long term. But again, you can get away without getting that glitch depending on how you do decide to build your buildings. So by this point I was nearly 7 hours into working on this hotel, and it does look great. I'm really pleased with everything I've accomplished in this episode. It's quite a lot actually when you look at it. That whole hotel building was nothing, it was just plain grass. Of course, we've sorted out the main entrance area where that's going to go, put the lagoon in, connected up the water area, and of course we've put the train in as well. So quite a lot has been done in this episode. But you can see me just here messing about with the lakes. Again, I didn't really have a plan. I thought I just want to put 2 lakes in out the front of this hotel. And of course there's still quite a lot of landscaping to do around it. You'll see me doing a bit over the next few minutes of the video. But overall, this hotel is practically finished with how it's going to go. A few little touches to add in, but I think it looks good. I'm really pleased with it. I might add some sort of waterfalls in. I don't do it in this episode, but I'm thinking now, after looking back at it, I might add some waterfalls in coming out of the rocks just behind here. But that can easily be done. It's all about those little finishing touches that make it. And in a moment I decide to put rocks all around the footpath that I've got there. Again, that's something to finish off in between this episode and the next one. And yeah, it's just genuinely looking really good. I hope you've really enjoyed this episode and seeing this hotel come together. Like I say, I could have sped the whole thing up and showing you all of it, but it still would have taken a few hours worth and a couple of episodes to see. So I thought, let's get the whole thing done in this episode, and you really don't get an idea of the time scale of how long that has took. You can't just put something like that together in a couple of minutes. It does take a long time to do. So yeah, you can see me here changing the layout of the footpath. I thought, right, I'm going to make it more of a circle and put a fountain package in the middle. Like I say, I didn't put the dragon in there in the end. I actually had Jack round for a little bit whilst I was doing this point, as I built it across 2 days. So we're having a little mess about with the dragon there, having a little joke. But yeah, it looks good, and I put that fountain in the end, put a few little ones shooting out of that, and it looks great. So in a second, we'll wrap up the video. I'll show you some nice cinematic shots. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed another episode of Let's Play Planet Coaster here on Theme Park Worldwide. I do try my best to get the episodes online as soon as I can do. I try to get at least one on a week as far as I can. Sometimes there's 2 a week, sometimes there's 1 not for nearly 2 weeks. It all depends. And as we do move into the theme park season, of course, you got the show online every Wednesday, different on and off ride POVs every couple of days, daily when I can do. And of course, we're going to have a lot more vlogs coming online on the channel as well. So there's so much going on Theme Park Worldwide that I do try my best to get these online and as frequent as I can do. Because I'm sure you can imagine, I work full time, and it's just so much going on. I try my best to get them on when I can do. That's what I'm trying to say, really. So I'll let you enjoy a little bit more rock work. I know you all love your rock work, hashtag rock work, and then we'll wrap up this video with some cinematic shots. So you can see me here adding lots of planting in just around the hotel entrance. This is the first time you've really seen the plant in this game that I've done. Of course, I haven't put any in my Pirates area or my Wild West area because they wouldn't have really fit with what I wanted to do. I wanted more of a natural feel to it. Whereas this, everybody knows it's fake. It's got more of a fantasy fairy tale theme. And yeah, I just wanted to make it look really nice by putting lots of plants all the way throughout it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. A lot of you really wanted some cinematic shots every time I build something. I always read the comments on the video, so here we go. Let's start off with some nice shots. That's an overview of the wonderful hotel that I've done there throughout this episode. We've got some fountains in there as well. Might change them slightly as we move forward. We've got the main lagoon in there with the street that we've changed, and of course the train itself, and then just some shots now at night time and how wonderful this park looks. There we go. That's an overview of all the lighting. Still a bit more lighting to add around the log flume and the hybrid coaster as well at some point. Oh, look at that. That's a fantastic shot. not. But yeah, thank you very much for watching another episode of Let's Play Planet Coaster here on Theme Park Worldwide. I'm Shawn Sandbrook. I'll see you in another future episode. Oh, look at that, it looks beautiful. In the next episode, we'll carry on with the main street, put up a couple of rides in on there, and really work forward to get this park open. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video here on Theme Park Worldwide. Goodbye, folks.